and welcome to BENSWORX. Before I show you guys how I make this awesome dragon egg, I'm going to tell you a quick story about my firewood failure. I had this piece of red gum firewood and I had this little piece break off the side, and I thought it'd be a really good idea if I put it in resin. The first thing I did was I took some white resin and I poured it all over the top to try and give it a snowy mountain look. Once that was dry, I mixed up my ArtCast resin, added a few drops of coloured ink, mixed it all together and poured it into the mould. I let this sit overnight until it was fully cured. The next day I popped it out of the mould and we have a nice clear blank. The next step was to put it on the lathe and start turning it. The first thing I did was I roughed it into a nice cylinder, that way I had a good starting point. Now I had this idea that I wanted to turn it into a ball, and since I hadn't done one before, I wasn't too sure of the process. I did look at a couple of videos online to get some ideas, but I think at the start I was just going to try and wing it and try and get a ball shape. At this point I took it off the lathe, which looking back now I think was a mistake. I wish I'd left it on there now and turned the end into a full ball before I'd actually taken it off, but I decided to take it off, cut it off the waste block and then start using these cups. I'm not sure if the lathe speed was too low or the red gum was too soft, but I kept getting catches. Even though my chisels were really sharp, every time I got a catch it'd move the ball in the cups and it'd just make it extremely hard to get a nice shape. Even though I was using any slip mat between the cups, it still didn't quite help. And just when I thought I was making progress, I'd get some more catches and it'd just throw it out of balance again. And after doing some research, I decided to switch up to some leather pads to see if that helped. And once again I started to make really good progress, but when I started to get more catches, it just kept ruining the project. This project was becoming a failure. In a last ditch effort, I grabbed my skew chisel and tried to round it over, but unfortunately it just wasn't going to happen. It was at this point that I realised this project was going to be a complete failure. I worked nearly all day on this ball and I was just so frustrated that it wasn't going to work out. But lucky enough, I had this blank made up. I was actually going to use it to turn at my live demonstrations for Hair and Forbes, but I just ran out of time. So this is the perfect opportunity to show you guys another dragon egg. So sit back and relax and enjoy the video.